Okay, good morning. Ito po si Nico Fabian. Nandito naman po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And today is March 3rd na po, the last day of Chinese New Year. Why last day of Chinese New Year? It is because traditionally, Chinese New Year is being celebrated for 15 days po. It started last February 17, and today is the last day of Chinese New Year, and we call it Chap Gome. So to all our CNY celebrants or Chinese New Year celebrants, we would like to say I myself and my family, together with the Filipinos in Malaysia, particularly those in East Malaysia, very specific in Sabah, the Lone City, Kota Kinabalu po. We wish to greet you once again. And for the final greetings po, Kong Si Fa Chai, Kong Si Fa Chai po, and hope you will enjoy this Chap Gome. Today is Chap Gome po. Maingay na naman po ang Malaysia dahil sa mga tingtong-tingtong na mga lion dances po. And of course, lighting or firing of firecrackers for today, but this will be the last day na po. After that, tahimik na po. And we will wait again for the Hari Raya. Mayroon naman po burning of firecrackers po. So, welcome na welcome sa inyong lahat po dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. And all my kababayan na kaibigan na kapatid ko dito po sa Malaysia, mga Filipinos po, as well as ang mga Malaysian friends natin and those other nationalities who are still or who are here in Malaysia. To the Filipinos dyan po rin sa Filipino communities dyan po rin sa Sabah, especially sa Kota Kinabalu, ang mga overseas Filipino workers natin po sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo, and of course, ang mga kababayan, kapatid, and na kaibigan natin sa bayan natin, ngayon na sa bayan natin. Let's all pray and hope and wish na ang mga kababayan natin and other innocent civilians po, will always be safe. Kasi may problema tayo ngayon po sa gera, war between Iran, combined efforts of United States of America and Israel po. Tuloy pa rin po ang bagbakan dyan sa Iran, sa Israel, and sa mga targeted places ng Iran, ang mga US base or US military bases sa Middle East po. That includes ang Qatar, that includes ang Bahrain, ang Dubai, Kuwait po. Meron din mga biktima po. Meron din mga biktima. But anyway, I will give you any updates regarding this thing po as it comes to me po. And the other topic that I want to touch today po is regarding what happened yesterday in the impeachment complaint against Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. We have 4 impeachment complaints, 2 were dropped and left with 2 po. And yung dalawa po, yesterday during the Justice Committee hearing, they voted that there is sufficient, that the complaint is sufficient informed. And today at 10 o'clock, there will be another hearing po within the Justice Committee. The members po will be deciding whether there is sufficient in substance ang dalawang impeachment complaint against Inday Sara Duterte or Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. So, the other issue that I want to touch, kung may time pa tayo po, regarding ang hot issue po since last month po hanggang ngayon, kung totoo ba daw yun po na ang ICC members nag-meet or they had a meeting with Ombudsman Crispin Remulla. Earlier, the government administration government or Marcos administration refuted and denied itong news being spread in the social media. But just recently, si Ombudsman Remulla confirmed that there was such a meeting sa bahay niya po. So these are the things that we are going to touch. But first and foremost, I would like to inform ang mga followers natin po that two of four impeachment complaints kay Inday Sara Duterte po, pasado na po sa form, sufficient informs. So, alright, saan tayo mag-umpisa po? Okay, let's start sa impeachment ni Inday Sara Duterte. Two of the four impeachment complaints filed against Vice President Sara Duterte were deemed sufficient informed kahapon po or yesterday by the House of Representatives Committee on Justice, while one was set aside. One was set aside for violating the one-year rule and the other formally withdrawn by complainants supposedly to help expedite the impeachment process. Apat yun po. One was put aside for fear of a violation of the one-year rule ban. And the other one, it was withdrawn to expedite daw po ang impeachment ni Inday Sara Duterte. Members of the committee chaired by Batangas Representative Jervil Luistro voted unanimously to declare the third and the fourth impeachment complaint filed by Father Joel Zambala and lawyer Nathaniel Cabrera, respectively, sufficient informed. The committee meets today. Ngayon po, mag-meet na naman ang committee and tomorrow to discuss whether the two complaints are sufficient in substance. Today and tomorrow po, Tuesday and Wednesday. Kaya din yun po nangyari kay sa impeachment complaint di President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. Let me quote. We will simply continue to monitor the proceedings and provide comments if and when necessary, said Michael Poa, spokesperson or spokesman for the Duterte legal team, with us to comment on the development. The committee also voted 22 against 10 to set aside the first impeachment complaint lodged by the Makabayan Bloc led by complainants Franz Castro and Nery Colmenares on the ground that it was filed last February 2nd or 4 days prior to the February 6th lifting of the one-year prohibition set by the Supreme Court. The second complaint filed by civil society attending Pilipinas led by Convenor Francis Joseph Aquino, the grandson of democracy icon Ninoy and Cory Aquino, was formally withdrawn by the 16 complainants yesterday to make the process towards accountability more expedient. Because we also would not want to provide any opportunity to VP Sara's camp to question the schedule by which we have filed the complaint. They stated in the 2-page letter to Luistro. They explained that for all intent and purposes, the content and import of the third complaint filed by Zambala et al. Are very similar to the second complaint that they filed. Yon po ang latest mga balita po tungkol sa impeachment. Okay, yesterday I want to share with you po some of the 1 or 2 or even 3 po video clips that I have prepared po. Medyo medyo may kunting initan dyan po sa hearing kahapon sa House of Representatives, especially dyan po sa Justice Committee po between Representative Ridon and si Representative Sonday. Nandito po ang sabihin natin ang video clip, ang video clip po which I believe na kailangan lang din po, kailangan din po na you watch and listen to this po. Hold on, Hold on. Saan na yun? Sandali lang po. Okay. Alright? Ang cue natin is 4:14. 4:14 po. In other words, 4 minutes and 4:18. No? 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Hold on. Sandali po, ha? Okay. Sandali. Let me share. Hold on. Nandito po. And let's watch itong video clip. So at this, you will understand what happened dyan po sa hearing kahapon po. Nandito. Let's watch and listen to this po.
Patapon kong kanilang katotohanan. At kagaya ng sinabi ng aming kaibigan, Pastor Benny Bante, public office is a public trust. We should proceed with fairness and without fear. Bottom line, we have to be impartial. That's why I would like to raise this. In the light of serious allegations contained in a joint affidavit issued last February 25, that has been reportedly transmitted to the Office of the Ombudsman, there have been allegations that some members of Congress ay nakatanggap ng envelope, nakatanggap ng maleta. Ito'y naibigay sa opisina, sa townhouse. Let me say this. This is not in a loose manner to be judged in the last day of violation.
Representative Tay, there is a point of order.
Representative
Hierarchy.
among all the motions. Madam Chair, this is very relevant.
And then he finishes with his point of order. The Honorable Federico is recognized. Kindly use the microphone when she's okay.
Madam Chair, the speech of our distinguished colleague is absolutely relevant to the question of sufficiency of form and substance in the matter. And more importantly, my understanding of what he's stating today is that he's probably accusing members of Congress, members of the House Committee on Justice, as receiving payments for the implementation of her mandate in the impeachment proceedings. So, which is which, Madam Chair? So I think his speech is out of order and this should be decided promptly by the committee.
We heard the basis of the point of order of the Honorable Terry Ridon. Now we shall hear the answer of the Honorable Suntay.
Yes, Madam Chair. Ang problema sa
Kindly justify the relevance of your statement in the impeachment proceedings.
It's something that this is actually relevant, not only the determination of form and substance. This is relevant in the impartiality, in determining the impartiality of this hearing, which is very important. Madam Chair, this is not an accusation. Kaya kung hinintay lang ako patapusin, ewan ko bakit naman yung aking kaibigan, magkagalaiti ka agad at concern na concern, yun ang if we have nothing to hear, then we just listen. If we are not being alluded, why are we so guilty? So let me finish. The issue here is not to prejudge the capacity of the allegation. However, given the gravity of the claims and the potential impact on the credibility of the latest proceeding, ang gusto ko maging malinaw lang po, hindi ko inuustahan yung aking mga kasamahan. Kung ipagpalagay na totoo ang mga aligasyon, hindi din po ito personal na laban sa sino man sa inyo. Sa katunayan, ang layunin ko ay kabaligtaran upang protektahan ang bawat isa sa inyo. Matigat kasi lilistahan ng lalabas. Ang gusto ko po sa ganitong pagkakataon, Madam Chair, naniniwala ko na mas mabuti na tayo mismo ang magharap at maglinaw ng issue. Kaya maging bulong kasi maging bulong-bulungan pa ito. Bigyan natin ng pagkakataon tayo membro ng committee. Pagkakataon mismo na mag-assess ng kanilang sitwasyon or if they can be an impartial member of this committee. Kung sa tingin nila, they can be an impartial, then let's proceed. However, if they think baka pagdudahan sila, pagdudahan yung lalabas dito na resulta, then let's allow them if they want to recuse, matapos kung kanilang katotohanan. At kagaya ng sinabi ng
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po, no? And ang mga reaction ng mga viewers, no, parang nakita ko sa social media, mga reactions nila, mga posting nila po, parang allergic ito si Representative Ridon when we talk about ang mga maleta po, no? Ang mga maleta. When that issue was raised, hindi naman po just to pin down or say something bad about those allegedly involved sa mga maleta, no? Now, parang allergic si Representative Ridon. But anyway, sige lang po. Let's continue ang report natin po. Kayo nang bahala po to assess, no? Assess ang reaction ni Representative Ridon. During the hearing also yesterday po, nag-raise din ng issue ang another representative po, si Representative Erice, regarding itong one year policy ban or bar ruling, no? And let's watch and listen to itong video clip that I prepared para sa ating lahat po. Hold on, ha? Hold on. Alright, nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Chair, it's kind of tricky because in the Constitution, the initiation is a process when you file it, and then the Speaker prepare it to the Committee on Justice. That's the Constitution. Kailangan po i-refer sa Committee on Justice. Yan po yung initiation. Meron pong ruling ang Supreme Court na February 6. Maliwanag din po yun. Pero may nakikita po akong malaking problema. Sapagkat kung may one-year bar rule, at naniniwala tayo na February 6 ang one-year bar ang dapat na sundin petsa, bakit tinanggap yung complaint ng Office of the Secretary General? At bakit ito nirefer ng Speaker sa Committee on Justice? Ibig po bang sabihin in the next few days, pwedeng mag-file ng complaint every day for the next 300 days? Tatanggapin pa rin ng committee ng Office of the Secretary General at i-refer pa rin ng Speaker sa Committee on Justice at ang Committee on Justice ang mag-decide whether the complaint is within the one-year bar rule. Yan po yung tricky question na dapat siguro natin pag-isipan.
Let us be reminded that the duty of the Office of the Secretary General to receive the impeachment complaint is ministerial. They cannot actually refuse to accept impeachment complaints which are being filed. And that is why it is incumbent upon us, the Justice Committee, to dispose of the issue of whether or not the impeachment complaints were filed, whether in compliance or in violation of the one-year prohibition period. The same is true with respect to the duty of the Office of the Speaker to include the same in the order of business within the period of 10 session days from the date of transmittal. And the same is true as well with respect to the plenary in referring the same to the Justice Committee, Honorable Erice.
The meaning, Madam Chair, that anyone can file a complaint every day in the next 300 days. And it will be accepted by the Office of the Secretary General, and it will be referred to the Committee on Justice by the Speaker. That will be the rule now.
Yes, Honorable Erice.
Thank you.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin. And magpuntos din si Congressman Erice. And on the other hand din po, si Committee Chairman, Representative Jervil Luistro, who is a lawyer, also clarified ang issue po. So, tingnan natin po, no? Everybody is very trying to be very cautious. Baka ayaw din ang committee at the end of the day or ang House of Representatives, especially those who wants to push through ang impeachment complaint ni Inday Sara Duterte, Vice President Inday Sara Duterte po, that because of technicalities po, the case will be dropped. So, they want to make sure that everything is in order. Kaya nga po, dalawa lang ang nag-push through po ang impeachment na complaint against Inday Sara Duterte. And this both, yesterday po, they ruled, ang Justice Committee ruled that there is sufficient it was sufficient informed. No? Sufficient informed. And today they will discussing and they will be deciding whether the said two impeachment complaint also has sufficient is also or are also in mayroon din po sufficiency of substance po, no? Kung mayroon din po, then tuloy-tuloy na ito pong hearing, and it will be level up to the plenary session for votation po. Then it will go to the Senate. Yan po, no? And this time around, let's go to the issue na people are saying totoo ba ito during the hearing, confirmation hearing ni confirmation of charges hearing of Tatay Digong, no? So they mentioned about ang gobyerno, no? Ang gobyerno ni Bongbong Marcos, in a way or the other, extended the assistance to the ICC representative when they went to the Philippines last year. So, earlier, nag-deny si Remulla, ang ombudsman natin po. But just recently, he already confirmed that he met doon sa bahay niya po mismo, and together with former Senator Trillanes and other officials like General Nicolas Torre po. And nandito ang report dyan po sa media, which malaking issue or hot issue ito ngayon po sa Pilipinas. Sa Pilipinas po. Let's watch and listen to this report po muna. I will share with you po ang report muna, and then let's talk about it. No? Let's talk about it. Sandali po. Saan na yun, ha? Hold on po. Saan na yun ang report? Ang queue natin is 429. 429. Saan na yun 429 po? Hold on po. Parang parang 429. Parang okay, nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this report. Alright, sandali po.
Sa eksklusibong panayam ng GMA Integrated News, inamin ni Ombudsman Jesus Cristina Muya, nakapulong nga niya ang dalawang kinatawa ng International Criminal Court sa kanyang bahay sa Makati. Kasama raw niya noon si dating Senador Sonny Trillanes at si MMDA General Manager at dating PNP Chief General Nick Torre. Nangyari raw ito ilang buwan matapos maaresto si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Justice Secretary pa noon si Remulla at hawak ang Witness Protection Program kung saan may ilang testigo ICC.
Nakipag-usap ako sa Trillanes, pinakilala niya sa akin yung ICC, yung ibang dalawang personal na ICC. Kasi nga, meron kaming usapan na yung testigo dapat protektahan, yung testigo na ICC. Since unburn in the DOJ, kailangan gawin namin. Ng Pilipino kasi mga testigo ko.
Sir, when was this?
Last, hindi ko na maalala. Maybe less than a year ago.
Ang nasabing pulong binanggit sa joint affidavit ng 18 dating sundalo na naging empleyado raw ni dating Congressman Zaldico. Pero hindi Remulla, walang masama na nakipagpulong siya sa ICC.
Ano? At hindi. Ang nakasalalay dito, buhay ng mga testigo. Kailangan protektahan natin ang tao hanggat kaya natin.
Kasi sir, ang sinabi daw po is hindi na daw po makikipag-ugnayan ang Pilipinas sa ICC.
Tagal na yun. Bago na lahat eh. Bago na lahat. Alam naman natin yun.
Pero hindi nang ibig sabihin na porkit totoo ang pakikipagpulong niya sa ICC ay otomatikong totoo na rin ang lahat ng nilalaman ng kanilang affidavit. Ganito rin ang sinabi ni Trillanes. Sa panayam ni Jessica Soho, inamin ni Trillanes ang pakikipag-ugnayan niya sa mga investigador ng ICC. Pero hindi nang ibig sabihin ay may nangyari ngang suhulan.
Ang sinasabi ko since 2017, nakikipag-ugnayan po ako sa kanila, nakikipagtulungan ako sa kanila, pagkalap ng testigo at ebidensya.
Ibinigay kay Sunny Trillanes ang mundo para sa pag-asikaso sa mga ICC investigators na ito.
Definitely, it's a spin kasi kailangan natin yung palampasin sinuhulan para magamit ni Kaufman na sasabihin corrupt yung mga ICC investigators. Probably to request for a mistrial.
Sa panayam din ni Soho, ipinakita ng ilan sa mga dating sundalo ang kanilang mga ID nung panahong nagtatrabaho pa umano sila kay dating Congressman Ko.
Bakit namin kayo dapat paniwalaan? At saka, paano nyo mapapatunayan na nagtrabaho kayo talaga kay Zaldico bukod sa sinabi nyo sa akin?
Then meron po kaming ID.
May ID
Yes, from Congress nagpapatunay na.
Pwede ba magpakita yung ID ninyo? Ito ang ID ni...
Mr. Kaufman.
Okay. Lahat kayo may ID na ganyan.
Yes.
Naka-indicate po ba nagtrabaho sila kay Zaldico, sir?
Yes po. Signature po ni Consulting na.
Pero para raw umusad ang investigasyon, sinabi ni Remulla na kailangan ang tigi-isang affidavit ng 18 dating sundalo. Ang isinumete kasi sa ombudsman ay isang affidavit na pinirmahan ng lahat ng dating security personnel.
I want to get the individual affidavits of each of them. The allegations are serious. Di ba? Nagkasama ako dyan. Nakita ko naman, sinasabi nila, ICC. Sinabi ko, nakausap ko. O ano ngayon? Di ba? Kailangan protektahan natin ang ating mga testigo eh. Para alam natin kung ano talaga ang personal knowledge ng bawat isang tao. Para malinaw kung ano talaga yun. Kasi parang ano yun eh. Parang pinagtagpi na kwento ng bawat isa. Pinamang isang affidavit. Eh, hindi dapat ganun.
Magtatakda raw ang Office of the Ombudsman ng PEDSA para isumite ng mga dating sundalo ang kanilang mga affidavit. Naunang sinabi ni Remulla noong weekend na gusto niyang maimbestigahan ng Senate Government Committee ang pahayag ng mga dating sundalo. Pero para kay Committee Chairman Senator Panfilo Lacson, mahirap imbestigahan ang nasabing mga pahayag kung hindi naman ito kapani-paniwala. Patuloy daw niyang pinafact-check ang claim ng mga dating sundalo.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin na ang report sa Manila regarding itong issue na ito po tungkol kay Ombudsman Remulla. And ang issue na totoo ba ito na may meeting, nag-meeting po si Ombudsman Remulla together with his ICC representatives last year. And confirm po, sabi niya totoo yan po. But earlier, he denied. No? He denied po. Anyway, meron tayo dito po, isang video clip tungkol earlier statement made by Ombudsman Remulla when he was asked by Amy or Senator Amy Marcos po. Let's watch and listen to this. Let's watch and listen to this po. Hold on, ha? Okay, sandali po. And nandito. Let's watch and listen.
National ICC. We did not assist the ICC, ma'am. They you've been very tenor of the letter. But we did not assist the ICC. We never had contact with them. Well, the investigation that they conducted was through their own methods.
He
We
denied.
did not in any way assist them. As said in your letter, we cannot. We
Sa
did
my
not.
efforts to president nakipagpulong kay Senator Trillanes,
Dito na-confirm siya.
Victore, para daw po with the ICC investigators. Totoo po ba yun? Sa bahay niya raw po, sa Bel Air, Makati.
Nagpapasok ako sa Trillanes, pinakailalig ka sa akin ng ICC. Malamang personal na ICC. Kasi nga, meron kaming usapan na ang testigo dapat maganda. Yung testigo na ICC. This is where the DOJ. kailangan gawin namin. Nasa Pilipino kasi mga testigo. Sir,
Alright, yun po, narinig natin po, no? Unang-una, deny siya po that hindi sila nag-meet, hindi ang opisina, because during the time he was the DOJ secretary po, never assisted ang ICC representatives po. But at the end of the day, he said, totoo yun. Nag-meeting nga kami sa bahay, sa mismong bahay ko po sa Makati. No? Sa Makati. So, that is the truth now. Maski paano tayo po, no? We try to hide, truth will always, at the end of the day, will be revealed or will come out po. So, these are the things that I want to share with you, no? Dito sa programa natin. And tungkol naman sa 18 Marines, 16 Marine soldiers, former Marine soldiers, 2 Army soldiers po, ang allegation nila tungkol kay deliveries of maleta or luggages po, no? So, nandito ang ano natin po, mayroon tayong ditong video clip. So, for you to understand po, no? For you to understand. So, let's watch and listen itong sabihin natin video clip that I have prepared para sa ating lahat po. Brief lang ito and let's watch and listen to this po.
2022, nag-start na po yung security, then nag-deliver na rin po kami ng basura na sinasabi nila sa mali-maletang pera.
Isa sa mabigat na bahayan ni Belnard sa kanilang affidavit nang isama raw siya ni Ko na mag-deliver ng mali-maletang pera kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos Jr. Magkano yung dinala nila?
3 maleta, ma'am.
Na magkano ang lahat?
Hindi ko specific yung kung magkano kasi medyo mabigat yung isang maleta, large po yun.
Nang tanungin ko ulit si Belnard tungkol sa mga maleta kay Presidente, magkano ang dineliver niya, sabi mo?
Hindi ko specific yung kung magkano sa 5 maleta po.
To support yung sinabi ni Sargento po yung pagdadala nila sa Hilipas. Kami kasi nung yung nagdala ng papunta sa Hilipas, dala namin yung 5 maleta. Sinakay namin sa Lexus na bulletproof. Yung po yung dinala nila sa Hilipas.
Yung nagdala ka sa bahay ni Pangulong Marcos, bahay nga ba niya, pinagdala niya?
Sa tabi po siya ng lake.
Hindi ito yung Malacanang of the North, sa may Paway Lake.
Yes po. 2020.
Yun po, narinig natin ang claim ng mga Marines soldiers, former Marine soldiers, ex-Marine soldiers po, no? Na they even brought, na-confirm sila po, no? This is their allegation. They delivered ang mga maleta, mga luggages mo full of cash, no? Even sa bahay ni President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos po, no? So these are allegations. These are things na mabigat po for the Filipinos to accept na we just close one eye, no? Kasi pera natin ito po, and ang trust that we gave to these people, kung totoo man itong mga allegations po, no? Mahirap talaga magtanggap sa kanila po. Dahil pera natin ito. Always remember, pera natin ito po. Pera ng mga mahirap na hirapan tayo makuha itong pera, nagbayad tayo ang taxes natin, tapos ganun lang pala po. No? So, I don't know, for those who think this is still ano po, ang mga invento-invento lang, I think there is something wrong sa inyo po. No? Sa inyo po. I don't know, that's how I look at it. No? Para sa akin po, I believe that it should be investigated. My allegations, 18 of them. Siguro kung isa o dalawa lang po, I can still consider, maybe forget it na. But 18 of them and another 10, no? Will be coming out. So, hindi ba? Normal lang po for the government to go for the investigation to see whether this is true or not. Ganun yun po, dapat po. And the Filipinos will appreciate. Will appreciate po talaga ang mga Filipinos. Instead of saying, walang ebidensya, instead of supporting pa itong, or questioning pa itong mga affidavit affidavit ng 18 soldiers po. Yes, pwede din mag-question kayo po, but in the investigation. Hindi, before the investigation po, and you are stopping this thing already, this issue po. Hindi naman gago siguro mga Filipinos. Siguro noon po, pwede pa. But not now, I'm sorry to tell you. Kung sino man yun against sa investigation or still saying that itong mga do not believe itong 18 soldiers po, I don't know what is happening. Something is wrong sa inyo po. Is it wrong to call for an investigation so that truth will come out? Normal lang yan po. But why is it you don't want? Grabe po. I hope one day soon you will realize, you will wake up kung sino man ito kontra po sa launching an investigation regarding itong allegations ng 18 Marines soldiers po. Klaro-klaro na po. What we want is to see kung sino talaga mga mastermind. Imposible po si Saldico lang po. Mayroon po yun mas mataas sa kanya po. No? Imposible talaga po. Hindi involved ang mga pangalan mentioned dyan po, kagaya mga cabinet secretaries, undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, government officials po, top mga directors sa gobyerno po. No? Grabe po. So, kailangan lang. For me, I believe for the government to gain trust sa mga Filipinos po. Kasi ngayon, trust and confidence po sa gobyerno, very big question mark na po. For the government to gain back the trust and confidence of the public po, no? They have to do a lot of things. Very tangible things. Like, kagaya ni Martin Romualdez, no? No? Saan na mga big fishes po? Wala. Despite of their many promises. Anyway, sige lang po. Depende na sa inyo. What I'm trying to do is just to pass the message sa inyo and kayo nang bahala po. I hope you will open your mind. You will open your mind. Ayun, mga open na ang mind po. Let's continue to fight for ang rights natin po. Kasi tayo ang biktima dito po. No? Sa flood control projects na mga kalukuhan, graft and corruption carried on by, unfortunately, ang mga incumbent politicians natin. Hindi naman lahat po, no? But karamihan sa kanila po involved dito po sa allegation na graft and corruption. Alright. Now, before I will conclude itong programa natin, let me share with you po ang report tungkol sa gera dyan po sa America, Israel, and Iran. Anong latest natin po tungkol sa situation dyan po sa Middle East? Nandito po ang report 123. Hold on 123. Saan yun 123? Okay. 123 po. You hold on and... Okay. Nandito po.
Halos 2.5 milyong Pilipino ang naiipit sa gulo sa Middle East sa gitna ng sumiklab na giyera ng Iran laban sa Amerika at Israel. Base sa datos ng Department of Foreign Affairs, pinakamarami sa United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia at Qatar. Nasa 800 Pinoy naman ang nasa Iran. Mga kapuso, kung kayo po ay nasa Middle East o kaya naman ay may kaanak sa Middle East na nangangailangan ng tulong, may emergency hotline numbers at iba pang contact information ang Overseas Workers Welfare Administration na pwede ninyong tawagan. Meron din po mga numero na specific sa mga apektadong lugar gaya sa Bahrain, Iran, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Oman, Saudi Arabia, at United Arab Emirates. Gusto mo ba taon?
Alright, yun po, no? Ang latest updates natin na tungkol sa gera po. So, again, let's hope and pray. Continue to hope and pray po na ang mga Filipinos, overseas Filipinos, natin dyan po sa mga affected areas po, they will always be safe po, no? Mayroon na mga casualties tayo. And sana hindi na mag-akyat pa ang sabihin natin number of casualties ng mga Filipinos po. As what I said po, medyo sana po we will address itong problema, the conflict po, no? That's Iran, no? Sa Iran, ang US saka ang Israel, dahil apektado po hindi lang ang Pilipinas po, no? Hindi lang ang Israel, Amerika, ang Iran, ang Jordan, Kuwait, or sino man dyan po sa Middle East, Pilipino din po apektado po. Hindi directly sa mga missiles, sa mga bomba po, but apektado tayo po sa presyo ng gasolina natin po. Today, nag-start na po, may increase, 1 peso and 90 cents. Biro mo yan po. But hindi po yun ang epekto. This is not the effect of the war, no? Expected, the effect of the war will be felt by next week pa po dyan sa Pilipinas. Ibig sabihin, the prices of oil will continue to rise. And, of course, prices dyan ng gasolina sa Pilipinas po, mag-akyat din po, double or triple. So, what does it mean? It means that prices of commodities po will also be hiked. No? And if that will happen po, value ng peso natin po will be badly affected. Ang purchasing power natin po will be badly affected po. Ang buhay ng mga Filipinos will be badly affected because of itong problema, gera sa Iran. No? And because of that, na-disturb na po ang deliveries of oil sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo po galing sa Iran. And kagaya sa Philippines po, wala tayong oil. We are agricultural country. So depende tayo sa oil po ng ibang nasyon. So everything that we do, depende tayo sa diesel, sa gasolina po. Kung mataas ang presyo po, 100%, mataas din ang mga presyo din ng bilihan po sa Pilipinas. So sana lang po, we will be able to solve this problem and balik sa normal ang presyo sa ating dyan po sa Pilipinas. So with this, si Nico Fabian, once again would like to tell you that I'm going to continue ang monitoring at 10 o'clock yun po. Ang Justice Committee hearing nila dyan po sa House of Representatives to decide whether mayroon ba sufficiency of substance ang dalawang remaining two impeachment complaint against Inday Sara Duterte po. So with this, once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Huwag natin kalimutan, both Christian and Muslim po, no? Let us make this a month, the fasting month, a holy, happy, and a solemn one po. To the Chinese community, once again, I would like to say for the last time for this year, Chat Gome, Kong Si Fa Chai. Bye, and I'll see you in my next episode. I love you all.